The winter White House, Mar-a-Lago, has been full of surprises this week, from staffing picks to celebrity cameos.
We're in the presence of a really mythical character. Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations!
The Washington Post says Mar-a-Lago is the center of the political universe. It's attracting everybody from cabinet contenders to foreign diplomats. And everyone's having a good time.
People ask me what my favorite day on the campaign trail was all the time. And I think clearly the best day of the campaign trail was the day that we won. Maybe the second best day of the campaign trail was the day that my 4-year-old walked into the back of the plane, the Trump Force 2 plane, and told the media that they were all fake news. and then, not 15 minutes later, our German Shepherd puppy walked back there and he took a
And the Argentinian president straight up destroying the dance floor. There's one problem at Mar-a-Lago. Some people don't feel like leaving.
Elon. What a job. What a job he does. And he happens to be a really good guy. You know, he likes this place. I can't get him out of here. He just likes this place. And you know what? I like having him here, too. He's good.
Elon says, get used to it. He's not leaving.
I think this is going to be the most transformative presidency, perhaps since the founding of the country. And President Trump is picking the cabinet to do it. You can see that the choices are people who are actually going to make change. It's not going to be business as usual. We're going to shake things up. It's going to be a revolution.
And just like revolutionary times, America's on a land grab. Trump world is talking about buying Greenland again. And the cabinet's filling up. This just in. Caroline Leavitt has been named White House press secretary. She's 27, just had a baby, and she was Trump's campaign press secretary. Remember this?
It takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently, frequently likened President Trump to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point.
And she's going to be coming back as White House press secretary. Caroline Leavitt's composed, disciplined, and articulate, and will be very effective behind the podium. Watch out, Peter Doocy. Trump's tapping North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum to head the Department of Interior. But that's not all. He's also going to be put in charge of the brand new National Energy Council. Not only is he going to be the drill baby drill czar, he's going to solidify our energy grid, add a little nuclear, and win the AI arms race. We're still waiting on a Treasury Secretary and an FBI director. And on the Senate side, the new majority leader says he's ready to push Trump's picks through.
What's the threshold for getting to that point for recess appointments?
Well, what I said is, Brett, and I think this is that all options are on the table, including recess appointments. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll find out fairly quickly whether the Democrats want to play ball or not.
Voters wanted complete upheaval in Washington, and they're about to get it. And Washington's a little antsy.
We're watching something happen in slow motion that is terrifying. We're seeing termites unleashed on everything. And this is a termite appointment.
They are MAGA warriors. They are in your face.
Correct.
These are not uniting people. These are not uniting picks. These are in your face to the medical community, to the intelligence community, to the military community.
This is the cabinet that you nominate to not to run the U.S. government to do anything, but to destroy the U.S. government.
Why are journalists defending the status quo? American journalists think the CIA and the FBI are doing a good job? They're against making America healthy again? What, they don't want to lose weight? Why are journalists afraid of Trump's cabinet declassifying his assassination files? What are they afraid of? Why is the media so afraid of getting the truth out? The media thinks the Pentagon's perfect? That's suspicious. It's almost like the media is working for the government. The medical community lied about the lockdowns, the intel community lied about the laptop, and the military lied about Afghanistan for 20 years. Thousands of federal employees need to be fired, and their documents better not be destroyed before the cavalry comes in. Democrats can't believe Trump's about to clean house because no one's ever done it before.
These three essential roles might be led by individuals with no requisite or relevant background, and in fact a history of just kind of outrageous and.
But I guess my point is, didn't America vote for this? Isn't this what people, they saw it, they voted for it?
You know, from my perspective, it is shocking, it is not surprising, but the American people, and certainly the people I represent, are good people.
People running these agencies with relevant background is why we're in this mess. It was all just a bunch of insiders failing up and then covering up. Instead of trying to understand who Trump's cabinet is, what they believe, and why they're there, the left's calling Tulsi and Pete the same thing they called Trump, racist Russian puppets. The American people shrugged that off last Tuesday, but they're still not listening.
She's considered to be essentially, by most assessments, a Russian asset, and would be the most.
Is that how you consider her? Is that what you consider her?
Oh yes, there's no question.
The Secretary of Defense nominee, Peter Hegseth. This is someone who, you know, is known to be a white supremacist, known to be an extremist, whose platform, whose book is basically about his opposition to the advancement of black officers to the top brass.
I would just say that Hegseth would say that he would deny strenuously he's a white supremacist. He has, I just want to
so did Trump.
Put that in the record.
If Tulsi wants peace, she's a Russian asset. Or maybe the war's unwinnable and she's smart to end it before everybody winds up broken dead. Why is everybody afraid of having that debate? Prove it's winnable. I'm open-minded. And Pete not believing in DEI doesn't make him racist. It makes him a believer in merit. That's what most Americans believe in. That's what Martin Luther King believed in. Here's a black member of the Obama cabinet who says Pete's rock solid.
I've given the benefit of the doubt on at least the nomination at this point, because here's somebody who is well-educated, obviously intelligent, was in financial services, was in the Wall Street community for a while, could have made a lot of money, and chose to leave that, put on the uniform of our country, and see combat.
The Democrat governor of Colorado says he's excited about RFK being at the helm of health. Democrat Mayor Eric Adams loves the pick.
You heard us talking about RFK Jr. being the head of HHS. What do you think about that appointment?
Let's be clear. We have a real problem with our food in our country. And we need to watch what we're feeding our children. And
what is the major problem, do you think?
Too much hormones. You know, many people know my, you know, I almost lost my sight with diabetes. The doctor told me I would be blind in a year. I was going to lose my fingers and toes. And it was my food. It wasn't my DNA. It was my dinner.
John Fetterman says Trump's victory is a serious flex for the bros. Quote, I love people that are absolutely going to vote for Trump. They're not fascists. So scolding harder or clutching the pearls harder, that's never going to work for Democrats. Look at all these Democrats getting on board. Trump's unifying the country, and he hasn't even been sworn in yet. This isn't an ideological revolution. This is a country that's sick, corrupt, and in debt. Workers can't afford food. The border's wide open, and there's a dude in your daughter's locker room. Trump promised to fix it. And if you're not helping, you're part of the problem. Complaining and name-calling isn't going anywhere. This is a new age. The tricks they tried in the past aren't going to work anymore. Country's not having it. This country's coming together to get it together, whether the far left likes it or not. Americans want to be safe, rich, healthy, and fit. It shouldn't have taken a revolution to demand that. but this is where we are. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.